Welcome to clickmyproject.com.
This is our project title, SEDEX, Scalable Entity Preserving Data Exchange. And this is our abstract. So the data mining is the non-trivial extraction implicit, previously unknown and potentially useful information from the data. So here the data will be exchanged to the source schema to the target schema. So the data exchange is the process of generating an instance of a target schema from an instance of a source schema. So the source data is reflected in the target. Here the communication will be doing into the source and the target schemas. Here the data will be interchanged. So generally the data interchange is performed using schema mappings representing to the high level relations between source and target schemas. So here we argue that data exchange based on schema level information limits to the ability to semantics in data exchange. So we level mappings not only may result in entity fragmentation. Here we will analyzing two types of problems to be overcome. The one is the entity fragmentation, the other one is the ambiguity generation for resolving problems. So here the entity fragmentation, they are unable to solve such ambiguous data exchange scenarios. Here they address the problems with proposed scalable entity preserving data exchange SEDEX, a hybrid method based on schema mappings to the similarities of the certain relation trees or the tuple relations of source and the target schemas can host the source images. This is the flow diagram of SEDEX, Scalable Entity Management of Data Exchange. So the first one is the dataset load. Here we will create a dataset as the different attributes. Different attributes based we will create a dataset. Here we will using to the data as students. So here student details based we will preparing our dataset. So first the dataset will be loaded. Again come to the pre-process. Pre-process is the one of the processing techniques to be remove the null or invalid values to be removed. So here again the pre-process will be loaded to be stored into the database. So here we will come to the data transfer. Data transfer means data exchange. Here the pre-process values based we will transferring our data to the data transfer. Data transfer as data is transformed into the source schema to target schema, and the other things as target schema to source schema. So here the data will be interchanged to the source and the target schemas. Here this process we will analyzing with overcome the two problems. One is the entity fragmentation, the other one is the ambiguity generation. The fragmentation with to be processing certain records based on the student records based we will fragment or split the data based on the student roll number, name and the departments, likewise etc. Is the same as the ambiguity generation. So next come to the cluster. So here the different attributes based we will clustering our records. Again come to the classify. So the classify records will processed after come to the mapping schema. So mapping schema with we will splitting our data based on grouping records. So after the mapping data mapping schemas using we will come to the reduce proof. So now we will analyzing the mapping schema data to be relation or participants performed. So the mapping schema data is in our hand. So next we will use the reduce proof for the mapping schema based data processing. So again come to the data, come to the data verification. So next one is the data change exchange. So here the data, after valid the data verification, the data is come to the target node. So again the data will be interchanged to the target schema to source schema. So finally the user retrieve the data. Okay, this is a for coding part for the SEDEX scalable entity preserving data exchange. This is our homepage. When I click home, let's go for the next one is the file selection. Here file chooser using choosing particular records. So this is our record for the selecting data. So where is the general registry details? So this is our record for the file chooser using choosing particular records. Okay, so this is our record for the okay okay registration details. Okay, this is our record. So when I click home, it will go for next. Next one is the data set will be loaded. Again the pre-process will be performed. Okay, so next one is the again file selection for choosing particular records. The place data profile. Okay, so the profile student profile details will be displayed. So next one is the load. All data sets are inserted into the database table. So this is the load place details, department name and the building. It's based on students performance. So next one is the again data exchange. The data exchange will be performed into the uh, source node to target node or source schema to target schema. So no value. So again come to the cluster. The data will be displayed into the profile. So the profile values will be displayed here. Now I'm choosing to the target values. So the target value displayed. So send to the target value. Target send target values. The data will be displayed into the database. So again come to the target node. So this is the target node. So here also no values. So here we will choosing the registration details. The student registration types. The types will be registration. Okay, so next we will go to the receive source. The data will be sourced into the target node. So it's the source values. So setting. So come to the cluster. The data will be displayed into the target node. We can come to the next data. So next data will be retrieved from the some or more databases. So this is the department based on grouping. So again on the task to be existing from the source. So this is the source and the data will be received. So the sender is sent to the data, the receiver is receive the data. So next come to the target node. Again we will using the target node. So view data task is not group before grouping, is after grouping. So the data will be comparison for the before department and the after department statements. Okay, so next one is the ambiguity scenario. It's performed on schema tables and the mapping schema relations. So this is the top department supervising and the profile department degree and the profile data will be displayed. So next one is the tuple relations is based on Java. So the Java records will be displayed. Again come to the degree, which students are studying the BSc degree. So this is the mapping relation statements based on the profile departments. Okay, so the next one is the tuple relations based on performing student details. So this is the tuple data. The data are stored into database. This is the schema relations. The department building, and finally the data will be mapping based on the student's performance with the student name, task and their supervising. Okay, the code part is finished. Thanks for listening.